Welcome to the Pseudo Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, Six, and today we're doing DIGIBRO'S Explaining Autism video. And today we have Plot Progressor B, Chandler Makes Video, and Stuffy. And because they don't introduce themselves, let's get started.
Fuck you.
So
Yeah, Stuffy, did you see the new One Piece chapter?
Chandler's gone.
Yep.
The one that didn't come out.
Yeah, I know, man. Don't worry, we get that next weekend. I'm pretty sure we don't get a Hero Aka. Which, I mean, that's a great
Okay,
fucking
1 second.
trade-off.
I need to give Plot the link. I forgot to give him the link.
Okay.
The missing link.
that was a fucking disconnect joke. Like, I do that every
Yeah, I know.
like
I know. What's it called? So, Plot, you gonna join? I mean, I'll just kick him and end it. You gonna join?
Yep.
There we go.
Alrighty.
Joined. Now I delete this and get the
Level 1
thing off the
versus
break.
level 5.
Alright, chat. Now let me just read the chat one last time. DIGIBRO stated he encountered it a lot in the Brony community, according to live visit. Goodbye the podcast. Hello the chat. Bruh. Okay. Oh, I feel this is gonna be irritating me. What has this devolved into? Peaches. Wait, DIGIBRO's still around? Alright, so we finished that, and now explaining autism.
We can all agree that liking anime at all is fairly autistic. But just how autistic is it? Over the
it is
There's no truer words than that. He's already starting it off so great.
It's like, look,
It's
we're not
already
even
so
going to try to prove it's autistic. We all know it's autistic.
last few weeks, I've been working on my unified theory of anime autism. I created a
unified theory of anime autism.
leveling system to judge just how autistic different anime are on the basis of who enjoys them and why. I've been running this by a whole lot of people, and everybody I've talked to seems to agree with
My
me
goodness,
on the
what
general
people?
placement.
Let's be honest.
The
It's
best guy
the
ever,
same four
Debut.
people.
Hypocrite.
It's objectively proven that anime is autistic. Like,
No,
you don't need to. Okay, right.
He's
Yeah, never mind.
He's saying, what's it called? He's running by the scale.
Basis of who enjoys them and why. I've been running this by a whole lot of people, and everybody I've talked to seems to agree with me on the general placement of different shows as well
Can
You know
you
what I'm-
cite your sources?
He's going to, God.
as
Okay.
the placement of themselves within the autism ranking chart. So, are you ready to find out how autistic you are based
Oh.
on your taste in anime? You're in the right place. The basis
I don't
of
know
my
if
theory
I've
is that
ever
there
been
are
more
7
excited in my life.
I think we're all sitting here like, just
Oh
tell us
lordy, here we
more.
go.
different levels of autism, and depending on how far you go down this scale, it will dramatically affect what kind of stories you are most inclined to enjoy.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't even disagree that.
Like,
different
over here
animes
is
have
Darling
different
in the
level of
Friends.
autism.
Here's Thomas the Tank Engine and Sonic.
So, what defines a story as being more autistic? Well, the number one thing is database, living in the database. What?
I think DIGIBRO might be pretty high on the scale.
He immediately went to level 5 just with that reference alone.
You may have heard of Hiroki Azuma's book,
I love this.
Otaku Database Animals. This theory that otaku are people who are obsessed with databases, people who are obsessed with categorization. And my theory basically plays off of this database aspect by suggesting that the more the appeal of something resembles a spreadsheet, the more autistic it is.
Like, I mean,
It's like a
that's
more
actually true.
autistic, less intelligent Joe right
Yeah, I mean, I fucking love DIGIBRO'S channel. It's so fucking amazing. Oh man, I love it.
Easiest way for us to truly understand this, though, will just be to go down the levels, keep getting deeper and deeper, and see just how autistic does anime get. So for starters,
We're going down the rabbit hole, boys.
are there any
Hold
anime
on.
that are not
Caliber Gaming? No, he's 100% serious.
Yeah.
not
Hey,
autistic at all? I would say that there are some anime that skirt the lines of being not autistic at all. I think that if you enjoy anime at all,
Non-autistic.
there's probably some level of autism, just because a lot of the innate appeal
Now, wait a minute.
of anime is in its
Is this-
appeal to
Who
those.
keeps unpausing it after I pause it?
I think you have to click on the button
You
rather than the
actually have to
video
click on the
itself.
button.
Yeah.
I have been clicking on the button.
Maybe it's you.
Hey,
Well, I was
Otaku, Peaches is slandering you in the chat.
Well, is he saying that there are in fact not just people who like obsessively like anime that determines how
Okay,
autistic they
the
are,
same
but there are
thing
individual
as-
anime themselves that are in fact autistic?
More children living has more autistic living. So vaccination equals autism. I mean,
seems-
otaku
seems
is
legit.
fucking- Okay.
Yeah, actually,
Otaku is
that
a
lot's
big-
pretty solid.
Just pretending that they are Chad changed my mind.
Correlation does imply causation, right?
Oh man.
I mean,
more autistic parts of human thought. There has to be a reason that traditional
this
mainstream media does not appeal
I mean, some people might believe that the detonation of the Tsar Bomba is what ended the arms race.
to you.
What?
And anime, nowhere in the
Correlation,
world
causation.
is mainstream media. Not even really in Japan, outside of shows that are made for kids or families. There have been anime that have been more mainstream, stuff like One Piece or Dragon Ball. But we also have to understand that being at level 1 autism is fairly common. It's not as though there's only a tiny percentage of the population that has any autism at all. This is a sliding scale. So there is a huge population of level 1 autism, which is not that different from having no autism. However, if your predilections lead you away from the most mainstream media, it probably means that there's a little bit more of a database element to the way you think. Regular-ass normies really don't even care that much about ongoing narratives. They don't care that much about complex storytelling. They most
Yeah, that's what-
Bullshit!
no, he's
Have you
he's
heard of?
correct.
Have you
Normies
ever
don't
met
really
a-
give a shit about that.
Look, have you ever heard of Law and Order S?
Oh my goodness! Don't.
Oh my god.
a fucking Game of Thrones, Stranger Things. You can't tell me those things aren't normie.
We're not saying those things aren't normie. We're saying normies don't care about what's it called, that shit. Like the things of complex stories and whatnot.
I was about to say, normies a decent number of normies liked Game of Thrones season 8.
A decent amount of normies like The Last Jedi.
Nah, most 50%. And let's be honest, how many of those only liked it because they were told to?
I'd say 50%.
They were paid.
I know a good number of people I can qualify that only like it because they were told to.
Oh, what's it called? Even if you don't want to say Last Jedi, what's the one right before it?
The
Force Awakens.
Yeah, there's also The Force Awakens.
Or Rogue One.
Rogue
Rogue One's pretty good.
I
Rogue
wouldn't say
One?
pretty good, but Rogue One is okay.
I think I
Yeah,
watched that
that-
movie once.
Yeah, that fucking scene at the end with Raider and the Rebels, that was dope.
I remember Raider. He was from that first movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, made by the
Yeah.
same director, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Shit, I think we're on level 4 autism.
mostly consume
I don't know
media
what that
just
is.
as a way to
I'm pretty sure we're way past.
kill time without giving it that much thought, without really having to, care about it on this more intimate personal level, because they're not seeking connection through media in the way that other people are. If you need this kind of stuff to relate to, it means that there is something a little bit more distant.
It means you were not properly socialized.
You guys watch some crazy stuff. I fear for Otaku Sandy. It's like, my sanity is gone.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's long gone.
Between you and the rest of society. And in particular, most of the strengths of anime in being alternative media are the ways that it turns away from those more mainstream ideas. It's very rare that you have any anime that doesn't have anything that appeals to more autistic people. To name a couple of shows that I think are very much level 1 autism, Death Note might be one of the least autistic anime.
Just look at ER.
What? Because Death Note is one of the least autistic because an autistic person would notice all of the faults with Death Note.
No, I guarantee. Here's the thing: all the people I know that are like absolutely have autism think things like Death Note are like the coolest thing ever because they're like they normally never go past like the age of like 13 development wise. So they're like, ah, shoot,
Kiro
such a
is right.
scathing take on society.
Not even that. Literally, all of Death Note requires everyone to be retarded.
Shh.
Are you trying to say everyone isn't retarded?
He's got a point there.
Yeah,
She.
like it's only slightly better than fucking Code Geass.
Yeah, I think we've already had this debate with Doom.
We have.
As
Yeah,
well.
we've had it multiple times.
Yeah, y'all know I disagree and whatnot.
There are some elements of it that maybe appeal more to the database brain. For instance, for me, reading Death Note, one of the things that fascinated me was all the rules that are present in the story.
Yep.
The fact that it's just an ongoing narrative at all, in fact, is, I think, just slightly autistic. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Having any form of story is autism.
No, that's not what he means by that. You know what he means. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
okay, even if it's not what he means.
It is hilarious. Though.
Definitively what he said.
Yeah, I know. Fucking hilarious.
Another example of a show that's not particularly autistic. These are shows I'd probably give like a 0.5 on the autism scale. And these are some of the most broadly appealing, most popular anime of all time because they reach that much larger base of people who only have the slightest tinge of the tism. If I had to categorize where anime starts going as you move further down the autistic spectrum, it moves further and further away from the central focus being on strong central storytelling and just being an entertaining, coherent narrative, and more into metatextual elements. The more autistic something is, the more it has to say about the medium or genre that it comes from. The more it is playing off the idea.
Okay, so we know Monogatari is going to be at least a 3.
Yes.
I just was gonna,
Yes.
I was gonna pause and ask, what's your bet that he actually knows what metatextual means?
Yeah, that you
He actually explains what he thinks it means.
would have
Let's just say
already
that.
consumed, memorized, and cared about other works within the medium. It also means that there is more to think about and talk about outside of that central storyline. There are elements that you can keep track of and sort of create a mental database in your mind. So, for instance, Dragon Ball Z is a show that can be enjoyed not very autistically. You can just enjoy it as a show about a bunch of big dudes beating the shit out of each other. However, if you start
No,
getting
because it's way too slow to enjoy like that.
I don't know. I all of the biggest people, all the biggest autists love Dragon Ball Z. Who are you kidding?
No,
Yeah, I was
but-
about to say the three.
No,
two
no,
of the
fucking-
two
no,
biggest
everyone
artists
shut
we've
up.
had on
Shut
this
up, shut up,
podcast.
shut up.
love
He
it.
started-
Shut up!
What
You
the?
didn't need to
Okay.
yell like that and re-air.
Uh,
But what I was trying to say is, what's it called? He gets into how the biggest autists also love Dragon Ball. So
Oh, okay.
he actually shows.
The power levels. You start physically. It as a show about a bunch of big dudes beating the shit out of each other. However, if you start getting into the power levels, you start caring about tracking the power levels, comparing them, talking about power levels with different people. When you get to the point where you start to speculate who could beat up whom, and then
Man, he really be calling Seth the programmer out here.
start thinking about
Welcome to power scaling.
like which characters from this show would be able to fight characters from other shows. That's where the autism starts to come in. Dragon Ball Z, I would say, can get up to like level 1 to 1.5 on
Wait.
the autism scale based on if you enjoy
What?
it.
I think it gets way more than 1.5. If you're doing that, I think that's a bit more.
Now, in light of that, I will also say that people anywhere on this autism scale can enjoy stuff anywhere else, so long as the way that they're enjoying it is more or less autistic. However, I do think
What?
If y'all haven't subscribed to DigiBro, I don't know what y'all are doing, man. I love DigiBro's content. It's
I just can't believe that he's not even joking. This is the
Like, you gotta catch the right DigiBro video. What you're hoping for is
I
this
know what you
level
mean.
of what the fuck is he saying?
there's a likelihood that you will not really be that into stuff unless it falls within like at least 1 point of your autism. So let's say if you, like me, are autism level 3, you're most likely to know autism level 3 works.
No, wait. There is no chance you're autism level.
yeah. We'll see.
Maybe autism level 2, maybe autism level 4. You will be further disconnected from level 1, further disconnected.
I think. Where he places me based off his definition, I'm apparently a 4.
From level 5, but you still might
What about
be
me?
able to appreciate
I don't know. I don't
You're
know
definitely
you.
a- You're 6 for
those
sure,
things
Chandler.
on some level,
Okay.
especially if you can fit them into a broader context or find things to like about them outside of the central narrative element of the story. One Punch Man is a perfect example of a flat level 1 autism show because of the fact that it plays off of tropes. It inherently is a commentary on the genre and medium that it's a part.
I thought he said the more meta contextual it is, the more autistic it is.
I think that was only for level 1.
No, he said metatext,
Oh,
which
of.
okay.
I'm
And
pretty sure it doesn't mean why he.
Has
Alright.
very broad appeal, but it's never going to truly
Metatext is
make
different, yeah.
sense to you if you don't have any context surrounding it. If there's no meta in your understanding of the story. But because of the fact that the meta it's
But-
commenting on is
Wait, is he just using meta in general?
Yes.
Yeah, and
no.
he-
One Punch Man has a
doesn't.
lot of meta. What are you talking about?
Well, metatextual will just relate to other forms of text, not
Okay.
pop culture, other.
Yeah,
But he's saying meta in general, not meta. Okay, whatever.
that's
Well,
because people will misuse meta.
Okay, whatever.
primarily found in stories that are on the less autistic side, the kind of stuff that runs in Shonen Jump, which doesn't usually tend to have that autistic of elements to it. It can be enjoyed in more autistic ways, but again, like something like One Piece, you don't have to be that autistic to enjoy One Piece, but you can get really autistic about One Piece.
No, because
and then
you do have to have a very good suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Kraftdorf and tell me he's not autistic.
Shoot, you got me there.
Yeah, especially when I saw the picture of him.
Okay, that's not what I meant.
make the potty cast. Likewise with Hunter x Hunter. That show gets a little bit more autistic, especially if you start learning about Nen and you can actually keep track of it. You're getting a little closer to level 2. But there's more ways to be
Alexander.
autistic than just logistical.
I mean, the podcast is extremely autistic.
Is it me, or is he like using the word autism almost synonymously with intelligence as well?
No, here's the thing. He's using the word autism in the fucking 4chan way, where it's literally synonymous with someone going a cigar. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Ways. It's not always just about
So we're
not even
talking about actual autism.
We are.
No,
your
We're
I don't know if he knows what
watching-
actual
well,
autism
we
is.
are
Here's the thing.
talking about actual autism.
We are watching a 42.
Digi isn't.
We're watching a 43-minute video on autism.
sheet, like mathematical readings of shows. You can have a more emotional side to your autism. And I think that shows that aren't autistic at all would normally feature characters who are just acting in straightforward, understandable ways that most people could relate to. As soon as you start...
No, because Digi, most people don't need characters to act in straightforward ways
Yes, they
because
do.
they're
like
not autistic.
Oh, wait.
I'd like to point out
I thought he said the
normally
other way around.
for people with autism, it's an inability to understand things outside of categorized, like, breakdownable format. So
Yeah.
really, it should be the less autistic it is, the more
The
They're,
more
like,
subtle
hidden.
the character.
Yeah.
start having characters who have oddly specific, maybe fetishized personalities or emotional scenarios that appeal to you in ways that they're less realistic, but speak to something more core about your own personality in a categorical kind of way. It's a little bit more autistic. I think of something like Tokyo Ghoul or any of the like edgy stuff that, you know, that teenagers tend to really like. That kind of stuff has an autistic appeal that's less about the complexity of the narrative and more about the specificity of the types of emotions that are present in the story that you wouldn't really get from a story where people are just acting like people. When we start heading towards level...
Well,
Look, it's
kind of
obviously about themes.
autism is...
the thing about anime is that it's made for, like, Japan makes media for niches, and so that's why I believe that's why anime in general has such a broad appeal, because there's so much of it that there's something that can appeal to anyone. You know what I mean?
I
Where
mean,
we
I
get
would
shit-
have, but you repeated yourself 40 billion times before you ever got to what you were going to say, so no.
shows like Steins
Yeah, I
Gate.
stopped listening.
This is a
pretty
show
quickly.
that heavily comments on the medium that it's a part of, the culture surrounding it. And some of those elements, I would say, are even more closer to level 3. But the show kind of puts that stuff in the background. That's the kind of stuff that you can enjoy in a level 3 kind of way, but it's a show that I think is most appreciated by level 2 autists. And at level 2, that's when you start getting really into anachronic storytelling, time travel, stories that force you to keep up with more things.
Wait,
that have,
hold on. Did he
Wait.
just say anachronic?
Is anachronic? Don't.
Anachronic,
I believe he mean,
chronologically misplaced.
I believe what he means is asynchronous, but okay.
Yeah,
Again.
that's what I was about to say. It's like, the fuck is he talking about?
Mhm.
and a denser inner meta, more just layers to it, things to keep track of. Quentin
No, he doesn't
Tarantino
even mean asynchronous.
movies
Oh
are
my
generally level 2 autism, but they can also be enjoyed in a level 3 autism kind of way. And at level 3 is where the meta starts to kind of overtake the actual storytelling. As we go further down this chart, people care less and less about telling a straightforward, compelling story and more about those metatextual elements. If your favorite thing about a Tarantino movie is all of the film history that it calls back to and placing it in this context of film history, you're probably about as autistic as Quentin Tarantino himself is, which is to say, level 3. Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I mean, my favorite part about a Tarantino movie is all the
is a level 3 autism show. And a lot of these shows tend to feature more autistic characters. This is still at a point where telling a compelling central narrative matters, but it starts to take a real backseat to the meta text, to stories that, you know, aren't really that like linearly satisfying, that take a lot more diversions, that are maybe a little bit more shandified. They're going in different directions, exploring more of the world, and not so focused on whatever is in the dead center of the story. The Monogatari series, great example of level 3. Hugely metatextual, lots of wordplay.
Fucking
not
called
as
it.
Yeah. A lot of words.
You know what? He did use anachronic correctly. Well, I'll be.
Storytelling, more just wasting time with characters in this world, and those characters are built out of these database elements. This is where we start to get characters who feel more and more like they are cobbled together from different ideas that exist within the medium. They less feel like regular people and more like specific ideas. Once we reach level 4, this is where
He starts describing me.
central narrative really starts to move into the background. It still needs to be there for these people to truly love a series, probably.
Okay, taking bets. Is Serial Experiments Lane going to be a 6 or a 7?
I think it only goes up to 6.
5. I thought it goes up to 5.
They said 6 at the very beginning.
I think you said 7 at the
Why the hell did all of us remember a different number?
You
All right.
remembered the numbers on the fucking
Yeah, screen.
yeah,
the thumbnail.
I think it's
yeah.
Possibly. Oh man.
Oh my god, like yeah, it's
Do y'all want to bet?
Lane is going to be
Wait.
either a 6 or a 7. I think Lane
Chat.
will be the top one.
Hello, chat.
Okay.
I want to see something. What do you think? What anime he's going to say is level 4 autism? Take a.
Oh, I 100% guarantee you it's Fate. Fate is 100% level 4
Yeah.
autism.
No, Fate is at
where
least
do-
5.
No, I mean, if it's going off of unknown, it's 100% Fate.
Okay, so where would you guys think Higurashi would be on this scale?
Actually, Higurashi might be
3.
the number 4.
What?
3.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I went to look something up. What were levels 2 and 3?
3 was the.
3 was Monogatari.
Yeah.
Under the justification of what?
Achronological. What's the word he used? Achronic.
Achronological. Achronicus. Anachronic.
Anachronic. Yeah. Yeah. Number 2 was where you start really caring about story structure and all that. Number 1 is pretty much just tropes and blandness and norminess.
No, because number 1 was focusing primarily on telling the story.
No,
Brotherhood
number 2 he
was
said.
No, he put Dragon Ball Z at number 2.
Are you trying
Number
to say
1
Dragon
was
Ball
Brotherhood.
follows a story?
I know that's retarded, but no, he said Dragon Ball was at number 2. Number 3 was I think Hunter x Hunter, because you could really get into like keep track of the ninja.
I just love like how on the level that the more you can understand a story, the more autistic you must be.
All right, so a lot of people.
Well, no, it's the more you can understand metaphors.
If Otaku, if he says Fate, I'm done. If Fate is a good guess, Clanid, okay, Ava. Someone already said Ava. Is hentai level 5? SAO or Log Horizon as level 6? Boku no Pico. All right. let's.
Well, you gotta admit, SAO is anime of the summer.
Central narrative really starts to move into the background. It still needs to be there for these people to truly love a series, probably, but they're much more focused on the database elements. This is where we start getting into things like the Fate franchise or the
What the fuck?
So by default, history majors have to be at least level 4 autism, right?
Pulmonat is level 4 autism.
History majors that want all of their historical figures to be cute anime girls.
Yep.
Base elements. This is where we start getting into things like the Fate franchise or the Index franchise, where just the complexity of like,
Which are 2 shows
I
like
mean,
Gasm about all
Index,
the time.
Like,
If you remember right, he also talks about Toho, and god damn it.
like I'm sitting there, there's no way Bio is only 11.
Just like you're like, god damn.
ideas, the sheer number of characters, the sheer amount of world building really goes out of control. If you're somebody who...
Which is funny because my entire
More
video,
world building equals more autism.
It's hilarious because I had a plan to talk about Fate and just literally talk about the world building. I have a giant, like, 4 or 5 page script where I don't even talk about the story. I literally just talk about the world building.
I like that. I like that somehow he's narrowed it down to like any degree that would be like in the humanities by default or like level 4 autism.
Holy shit!
Wait, what? That would kind of make One Piece level 4 autism.
Shh, shh, you little.
I mean, we know the podcast is level 4 autism at least.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Because
He did say you can enjoy any series if you love it for that reason. So they're loving a level 1 autism anime for a level 4 reason.
I mean, the
Like-
last podcast I listened to, they spent 5 minutes talking about the cover page.
Yeah. Oh man, that's some level 4 autism. I won't disagree, but no, there's the love of world building is a level 4 autism trait.
It's also no game, no life. Go to soup. God damn it. Well, fuck!
We were at I believe 12 minutes. So
Let me just look. Fuck is blurry. I can't. Okay, so 12 minutes. Let me do that. I accidentally had my thing just a little
Theories
too high.
probably, but they're much more focused on the database. The sheer amount of world building
Right here.
really goes out of control. If you're somebody who is just like reading wikis or writing wikis of
Yep.
your shows,
Yep.
you know, you really like have this very specific characters that you're a huge fan of because of whatever tropes they represent. I mean, this is really where we're getting into database and
Through me.
animal territory. Like highly otaku works, I think, tend to fall in, you know, level 4 autism. And so, like, we're really getting farther and farther away from the light of society, farther and farther away from realism in our characterization.
The light of
Oh
society.
my god, every day we stray further from the Lord's light.
yeah, by his definition, anyone's favorite show is automatically like a level 4 autism.
I love this so much.
It's so stupid.
This is why I donate to the Patreon. It's literally to get shit like this.
Honestly, thank you for donating to his Patreon so that we can watch videos like this.
Look like a spreadsheet. And level 5 then is where we just go completely out of control. This is where conventional linear story. Now, something interesting also happens the further down the autism scale we go, which is that authorial intent matters less and less
This
as
is
well.
completely
The
true.
more autistic you are, the more you will find your own fun in the stories that you consume.
Like, if you
Oh,
know anything about the Toho fandom, there's like almost no real story. And majority of the story is made up by fans and fan works.
Well,
and
yeah,
fan animation
because
and
it's a
shit.
bullet hell.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that's where Toho would lie as well. Ugh.
Because of the fact that you can just read more into what's happening. At level 1, because it impacts
Too
them
rewind it.
immediately, and then they find a way to love it even more, often by creating their own, sort of existence within it. So
Self-insert.
all throughout this scale,
No.
you can find fan fiction, but, someone who's level 2 autism probably cares a lot more about keeping everything canonical, keeping everything true to the original story, and only barely venturing out into, connected ideas. Whereas somebody
So
who's at level 5
Does this mean by default people who like Steven Universe and Hibike Euphonium are automatically like level 5 autism?
Oh, whoa, whoa,
I'm sad now.
I'll
holy
explain.
fuck. Calm the fuck down.
autism
Either 5 or 1.
will completely fabricate their own version of the story, take
Yeah,
characters
he's talking
in
about
totally different
Toho.
directions, or or possibly really obsess over every individual detail of what was present in the canon and extrapolate on it much further. Once we get to level 6 autism, this is where we start to enter the realm of lower functioning, where
My goodness.
How-
Only at level 6.
How dare he call me out like this?
Okay, so Bio's a level 6?
Ooh.
All right, wait. What Toho? What's that short form?
So,
It's just Toho.
What show is that?
I have,
project.
yeah,
It's not a show, it's a game.
yeah.
Oh, okay. That explains that.
Really, there's
Well, it has
most...
a show, but no one.
Wait, it has a show?
It's,
I know
it's
it has
fan,
a lot of porn.
It's a fan-made show, actually.
No, they have a one OVA, if I remember right.
I was about to say, if it's a fan made, it better be fucking hentai.
No, that's literally all the other ones. There's like, if I remember right, there was like actually a website just dedicated to it, and I was like, I wonder how many videos are there, and it had like almost 100,000.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so fucking Toho is basically Japanese Overwatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Oh man, all right.
you probably don't even have as easy of a time relating to society or traditional stories in the first place, and most of what you're getting out of stories is what you're reading into them because you're reading so much into everything. This is Chris Chan tier. This is the level where your inner universe overtakes the appreciation of the original work, where it becomes more of your own thing than
shoot.
something that you relate to other people who are consuming the story as well.
So we're
The
all in
real
agreement
and
that
original
DigiBro does
creator.
not realize how autistic he is, right?
Did you
Oh.
go 6?
Did this,
Oh my
this
god,
point-
wait, does this mean the Phantom Menace is level 2 and Ryan Johnson is level 6?
I just want to.
Sonichu level 6?
And just like that, if you take a look at this by level between both at both level 1 and level 6, both parties have zero understanding of how the show actually works.
Horseshoe theory.
It's the loop theory. The closer you are to level 6 autism, the closer you're back to level 1.
Wait. We still got one more level.
Oh shoot, you're right.
Your conception of the story is more, born from your autism than from what is actually present and intended by the author. Getting to level 7 is where we reach a point where
No
you
return.
are barely intelligible to regular people. If you are,
God damn.
obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine as an adult.
Fuck, I was wondering if he put up any references to the other autism video.
Sonic, Thomas the Tank Engine, Sonic the Hedgehog. Please say Sonic the Hedgehog next.
Okay.
That's
All
level
right.
7 autism, and that pretty much goes all the way down into the lowest functioning. If you've reached a point where, you don't even connect with what people like about stories at all, you have difficulty even like you
Lord.
probably have difficulty communicating in any way if you're at level 7
fucking Lord.
So that's my
Yeah, he's
autism
definitely
chart.
talking about you, Chandler.
Now,
Come on,
let's
come on.
go ahead and just go down a list of anime
Damn it, he
and
didn't
place
say
them in
Sonic.
various places on this chart so we can get a
There's still like 20-something minutes.
Oh my god, is NLP level 7?
better sense of exactly where everything falls. Shows like Naruto or Bleach, these are good examples of shows that can easily be enjoyed at level 1 and 2. There's shows that have, somewhat complex narratives that go on for a long time, but you can kind
Wait,
of
they
just...
have complex
Wait,
narratives?
what?
Have you not?
That's news to me. Like, I don't know if there's ever been a complex narrative in Bleach.
Like, the narratives are simple.
Yeah, you just got to know a lot about Nietzsche.
Oh, shut up. Oh my gosh.
them by just, passively consuming the show. The more you get into all the different factions, if you start identifying with certain villages or, wearing the headband.
I mean, I identify with certain villages inside Attack on Titan.
Did you know that knowing more about each individual branch of the Gote 13 is in fact a theme of the story?
People that know autism or very little will probably be able to enjoy that movie because it is such a very good
Who skipped?
wearing the headbands. That you get into all the different factions, if you start identifying with certain villages or, wearing the headbands, that's closer to level 2. The movie Your Name, that movie...
Wait, no, that's way beyond level 2.
Wait, Harry Potter fans confirmed to be at least level 2 autist.
Yeah. Is My Little Pony level 7? Got it. He's gonna bring Dragon Ball up, is he?
He already did that.
Yeah, I know. Man, I can't wait. He's going to explain so much more.
Appeal, where people that know autism or very little will probably be able to enjoy that bit in the level 2 category, where I think people at level 2 really care the most about like story construction, about all of the different parts, fitting together well. These are people who want their stories to be a compelling, straightforward narrative, but they want it to be airtight. They don't want there to be any,
Malor.
they don't want there to be any like missteps along the way. And
Yeah,
they're
like One
more
Piece.
interested in like how complex can a story get while still, keeping all...
I think he's just describing Mauler.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's not wrong.
the Farms has stated that Malor is autistic.
I mean, I wouldn't even disagree with that argument.
No,
Yeah.
like,
I honestly, like, when I loved his channel, but the very first video I ever saw of him, I was like, wow, this is some real autism.
Yeah.
But I love the channel.
all of it making sense and realistic and still enjoyable
I
to watch.
care about the world
So
building of
for people
Mauler's
like
channel.
that, Kimi no Nawa might start to break down a little bit because they're seeing the plot holes, they're seeing that the structure isn't perfect. As you get to level
Not
3
saying
and 4,
anything.
however, you start to be more...
I know what you want to say.
That's without a doubt us. What are you talking about?
I was about to say, it's like,
Shoot.
more interested
you
in the
know,
metatextual
Nawa fell
elements
apart fast.
of the film. It's commentaries about the state of society in Japan. It's granted, you can still appreciate these things at level 1 or 2 autism, but I think that
Digi, the rape wasn't even good, bro.
That's a pretty high level autism statement. Who keeps skipping? What the fuck? Someone paused and then skipped a fuck ton.
of a thing, the deeper down you go. And granted, depending on your intelligence level,
No, it's like
and
someone
level
skipped like
3,
a few
that
minutes.
however, you start to be more interested in the metatextual element. They're making sense and realistic and still enjoyable to watch. So for people like that, Kimi no Nawa might start to break down a little bit because they're seeing the...
All right, whoever is like touching it and then it completely goes like a minute or two forward, stop touching it.
plot holes, they're seeing that the structure isn't perfect. As you get to level 3 and 4, however, you start to be more interested in the metatextual elements of the film. It's commentaries about the state of, society in Japan. And granted, you can still appreciate these things at level 1 or 2 autism, but I think that your ability to love the movie on the basis of these things and to forgive some of the problems that the movie has, that becomes more of a thing the deeper down you go. And granted, depending on your intelligence level, it can override a lot of things that have to do with autism. It might just be that you enjoy things that are, that have more complexity just on an intellectual level.
Wait, is he saying Kimi no Wa is on an intellectual level?
I'm not sure anymore. Like, it's DigiBro.
If he brings up Noragami, he's just digging himself into a deeper hole.
I'm looking at the comments for this video.
Yeah.
Autist loves databases. Starts qualifying autism. Pave the way, Captain.
I like Horizon in the middle of nowhere, specifically for having a complex narrative while being insanely silly at the same time. So where am I supposed to fall on this then? Well,
somewhere wherever Bobo sits.
Yeah. I would say Bobo is somewhere probably at 4. No, 3. Meta.
I'm confused on where Bobo would sit because it might sit at 7.
I like this. There's this one comment: a level 5 autistic can become a level 6 autistic by killing 10,000 clones of another level 5 autistic.
Oh, that's great!
Just like what an autist would say.
Oh my god,
that's so typical. Oh my god. Starting scientifical railgun. Oh, man.
But that doesn't necessarily equate to enjoyment. I think that, someone like me looks at your name and I can appreciate some of the more complex elements of it intellectually, but the movie doesn't do as much for me because it doesn't really have that level 3 autism I'm looking for. Likewise, there are tons of non-autistic or very not very autistic movies or shows that I think are good, and I intellectually feel like, oh, that's a well-structured, well-put-together movie, but it's never going to reach me in the same way that something it will if it, something like Ava that has all that richness of metatextual elements to it, the more prominent connection that I feel to the author as compared to, something that's more straightforward. Elfenlied, particularly the manga, I would say is level 5 autism. This is
I've never read the manga.
I don't know if anyone who ever has.
Can we get Ira Mem in here?
I mean, yeah, I can kind of see it because Elfenlied kind of does spell out every emotion that the character is feeling.
We should have gotten Kaiser and Mr. Cynical in here for this. This was
yeah, or Cody.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
Oh shoot, we should have gotten Cody.
Go to a break real fast. Ugh.
Oh my god.
Get an actual psych major in here to start talking about.
What? I'm inviting Joe?
No, I meant Cody, who's just get like an actual psych major just there.
That would have been hilarious.
I don't know what to type to get Mr. Oh, there we go.
Wait, we're actually gonna. Oh my god!
I don't know. We might be too far in.
We're so far in, but we have to do it.
Oh my god! Hello, Rika.
Hi.
Oh my god, we can't stop laughing. Oh wait, no, Kaiser doesn't want to do this. He doesn't do stuff like this.
Well, he doesn't laugh at
Rika has seen this video already.
What video?
Power scaling autism.
Give me 1 second. I will...
Kaiser immediately left.
Oh lord.
I mean, I can't blame him because I would have.
I mean, I already watched it. I mean, I don't have much else to say. I would like the thing is that Digi's like 70% correct. It just has
What's going on now?
We're power scaling autism.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
So,
man.
And so far, we've discovered you have to kill 10,000 level 5 autists to become a level 6 autist.
so the general thing that Digi is describing as needing to as classification is generally just abstraction and conceptualization. And what he's actually describing is an individual's cognitive level to classify and consider abstractions, which autistic people are generally more prone to do or care more to do, I would say. So he's not wrong. The problem is that he just considers, oh yes, putting teens in categories is what autistic people do. And it's like, yeah, to a degree. So,
It's still funny
Putting
to
square
watch.
blocks in square holes is what autistic
I mean, it's funny
people do.
that he uses autism, sure, but beyond that, it's like, it's interesting, but there's not much else than that.
Honestly, the funniest part is his obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Not
What?
really. I mean, not really. Do you know how many people are into Thomas the Tank Engine and
Yeah,
autistic people?
we know
It's
how many
insane. Like I would say, like there's Sonic
like
and then
Love
there's
Life.
fucking Thomas. It's Thomas the Tank Engine. You have
I
no,
know,
you have no idea. Like
I know, but it's still hilarious.
eh. I mean, like I argue that the reason why autistic people like it is because like the train moves and that it doesn't. I don't fucking know. Like,
No,
I'm
it's because
fucking-
autistic people love trains, and these trains have faces on them.
yeah.
Hey, Rika, did you
I
join
guess
the
but
watch
there's more.
together?
There has to be more than that. I refuse. There has to be more than that. I don't know.
Rika, did you join the watch together?
The what? The lounge?
The watch together?
Yeah, I'm in there.
All right.
I don't want to
That's
watch it. I already watched it.
Come on, it's funny. We've been laughing our
No.
asses off.
No,
Are you live stream? Are you live streaming this or something?
Yes.
Oh
I have
God.
like nothing to say.
Oh, come
The thing is,
on.
I partially agree with him.
Oh no, like we all agree on a lot of it, but it's just funny to watch the way he phrases it all the time. It's amazing, and this is why I say I love DigiBros still making content for shit like this.
Yeah, because all it does is just it adds to the autism level. You know, the autism collective.
I love it for the meta and the world building.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the world building. Best world building ever.
Mhm.
I mean,
Alright, I'm
the
gonna-
world. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna be leaving because
Aw.
Uh,
All right, fine. See you later.
sorry. Like I've already watched this, so
I'm gonna press play.
see ya.
so
Where the hell
You
is it?
enjoy
Love you.
because of the database elements in the story. If you're into the fetishes that it represents, if you relate to these incredibly weird, very inhuman, very based on whatever tropes they embody type of characters, that's the most enjoyment you'll get out of Elfenlied. And granted, there are tons of people
Best
who have
trope of
enjoyed it on
Thomas the
some
Tank
level,
Engine,
especially the anime,
you know?
just because of how
I want a piece of
insanely
that Percy's ass.
No, he's Thomas the Tank Engine's level 7.
oh, he's talking about level 6. Was Elfenlied a level 6?
5.
5. Okay.
violent it is, which gets your attention. It has things to say about society that are kind of interesting, especially if you're a teenager who's seeing it for the first time and has never really thought about a lot of the crazy stuff in that show. But most regular people are going to think the show is vile and disgusting and bad and just badly written and terrible. But, again, it really has a lot of specific appeal that if you're reading it from that more autistic lens, you
Magician
don't
of D
care
just asked
about
one of the best questions.
Okay, let me read.
I just realized that we've all been neglecting the real question here. Where does Sherry Freeman fall on this scale?
Well, he's at one of the ends. I will say that.
God damn it, the autism meta.
Yeah.
I love it.
bad storytelling. You
Look,
care
we
about
need
the
to
fact that
nerf
it has
Asperger.
characters
It's obviously OP.
Yeah.
to embody
It's
these
become
things
too
that you
powerful.
I mean, some people are becoming more woke about Asperger's and think it's the next step in human evolution.
Is it not?
I mean,
Well,
I
we
saw
need
it
to
in
nerf
Predator.
Asperger's because they can beat the shit out of their girlfriend. Jerry Freeman is the scale. God damn it!
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask this, but who is Jerry Freeman?
Oh, we're gonna have to do his shit another time. He ended up making 3 videos on why he hates Konosuba.
On what? Say that again.
Why he hates Konosuba.
Mm.
Oh,
Because none of them have backstory.
Like, the most simplified version I can go with for his videos is it's 3 videos on why he hates Konosuba.
None of them have backstory aside from Megumin, because she's the only one with an actual joke, because a joke isn't funny if it's not progressing the narrative.
Oh.
what?
relate to or care about. Kill La Kill is a good example of a show that I think occupies like the level 2-3 sort of range, but how much you enjoy it will really depend on which one of those two you are. At level 2 autism, you'll definitely appreciate it as like, you know, something a little bit metatextual in the realm of anime, you know, depending on how much anime you've seen, how many of the references you get, how much you know about like what it's playing into, you know, that might factor into your enjoyment.
Wait, is this entire video just a way to show your taste is shit?
I mean, they're going with that's the purpose, or the purpose is to say, see, I'm not that autistic.
I'm not that autistic. Says every autistic person ever.
But it is a show that breaks down a little bit on the traditional storytelling kind of scale. It's not very clean. It feels like a mess, a bit of a clusterfuck, and I can see why that would turn a lot of people off. But if you're at level 3 autism and those kind of things don't bother you as much, but you're really interested in just how much thematic depth is packed into the story, how referential it is of the surrounding culture.
Wait, what story is he talking about now?
Kill la Kill. You know, I actually want this to happen. Every single reviewer or analysis channel, when they talk about whatever show they're talking about, they must also say what autism level it is.
Give an autism level.
God damn it, you're gonna make me fucking start
today on the IGN. We're gonna review Pokemon Sword and Shield. I gave it a 7 out of 10 on a video game scale and a 12 out of 10 on the autism.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Trying to give me this starter channel
Today, like you're reviewing High School DD, it's a level 69 on the autism scale.
I want this to be the official thing.
God damn it.
Oh, man.
I might have to put out a video now.
Those deeper layers, then you'll probably enjoy it a lot more. Konosuba, probably a perfect example of like a level 2 autism comedy. Again, a lot of the humor is derived from its placement within the genre. It's playing around with anime tropes. But it also doesn't go so far with that you would need to have seen a ton of shows to understand what it's making fun of. As long as you have a vague understanding of the genre and of anime in general, you can appreciate it. And a lot of the jokes aren't like that crazy fucking...
I just wanted to...
You know...
I just thought of something, and that's the idea that all right, people who like sports normally are obsessed with like the stats and figures of that in their team's like performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that make all people who like sports autists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go. I'm glad that we've established that in fact sports are autistic.
That's just a known fact.
Let me put it to you like this,
people
okay?
that don't play sports and watch sports are more autistic
Yeah.
than the people that play it.
Let me put it to you like this, okay? If you have an obsession, in a way, otaku pretty much just means you have an obsession. You could be a train otaku, you could be a sports otaku, a military otaku, or an anime otaku. Anybody who's an otaku or has an obsession is somewhere on the autism scale, pretty high up.
Anything you enjoy immediately, it directly increases your autism levels.
Yes. And exactly.
I love this.
only non-autists get away with not having joy in life.
And that's the thing. Everybody has something to enjoy in life, so they're all on the autism scale.
So stupid.
Which qualifies his very first video saying everyone's autistic.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this world building that did.
Yeah.
Just imagine like David K. Megatron saying yes.
Referential. I would definitely say, you know, levels 2 and 3 will probably find just about equal enjoyment of the show. But, you know, the characters, while they have some sorts of database elements, they're not, like, all about just being this, like, one cliche so much. And even to the extent that they are, it's for comedic effect. And lampooning those kinds of cliches is less autistic than seriously enjoying them. Another set of works that are good for that sort of tunneling down effect, in a similar fashion to the Quentin Tarantino films, are the works of Shinichiro Watanabe, such as Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo. These are stories that actually have excellent appeal even to people with very little autism, because they do tell compelling, straightforward narratives with complex.
They could never appeal, right?
That
Hold on, pause it. So they could never. What he's saying is they could never appeal to somebody who's not autistic. Okay, but even though everybody's actually autistic, anyways.
Yeah,
so.
I was about to say, for this to make sense, you have to watch his first video on autism.
Yeah.
Do they
So-
like Sonic or not? Yeah.
So pretty much it appeals to everybody then.
Yeah.
Yep, just like The Lion, the Witch, and the Gem is movie of the year.
Yeah.
Even if you're just like a normal person. But if you want to get really autistic about these shows, there's so much detail, so much metatextual reference, so much extra to get into. I would say these are probably level 2, not as much level 3, but they're bordering on it, just in how much reference there is to surrounding media. But a lot of the surrounding media that they pay homage to is not necessarily that autistic. So it's different from anime, which, you know, a lot of the more autistic anime pay homage to even more autistic anime. So if you're talking about, say, ReZero, I would say that's a bit more autistic than Cowboy Bebop, because it's still commenting on the medium, but it's commenting on the medium of isekai light novels and pathetic autistic otaku protagonists. Stuff like K-On! And Cute Girls Doing Cute Things shows, these definitely start at level 2 minimum. I don't think you can enjoy these shows if you're not at least level 2 autism, because they don't have...
No, you have to be at least level 4.
You gotta be DigiBro'S level to really.
I'd say like
appreciate it.
K-On! You can kind of get away with being level 3, but something like Lucky Star that's all meta comedy,
Oh man.
you have to be a level 4.
I
Yeah,
love
He'd have to understand what meta comedy is first before he would be able to make this chronological.
storylines.
No. A chronicle.
You can
Shut up.
find lots of
Beautiful.
narrative in them, in as much as they are character studies. They're certainly about something. They certainly have enriching worlds. Well, the good ones do. And I mean, again, the more autistic you are, the less you really care about how good something is. But in this, you know, I'm putting huge air quotes around good, because obviously.
Wait a minute. I just realized something. This
What?
makes that
Did he?
anime snob the least autistic anime fan ever.
Yeah.
Did he just say the more autistic you are, the less you care about how good something is?
Yeah. Good as in air quotes, because he's saying good in reference to consistency in the narrative.
But that contradicts what he said about level 1s.
No.
Horseshoe theory.
Don't question what DigiBro says.
Okay,
Go
right.
along with it.
No, 2s and 3s care the most about narrative.
No. Yeah,
Be careful. He is a hero.
And
4s
hero.
care about world building.
Yeah.
He's an hero.
Please make him stop. The ideas are killing me. I hate the video already. I love it.
Yeah, this is great.
Mainstream accepted definitions of what is good. And this is why it's so difficult for these kinds of cute girls shows to be accepted in the mainstream, is because the appeal of them is heavily autistic. It's much more categorical.
2 being heavily autistic.
Yeah, it's all about that heart boner.
Much more database
Oh,
driven,
yeah.
and much more, again, about just not caring so much if there is a compelling central narrative.
Here's the question: if it's all about that heart boner, what's it considered when an anime is just stabbing you in the heart rather than giving you a heart boner?
Tokyo.
A rom-com?
Are you talking about tragedy?
Possibly. Is that like somewhere on the
Getting something out
autism
of
scale?
What you
Not yet, I
see in the
don't know.
characters. I think that there's a lot of level 2 autists who have sort of been converted to these shows because of level 3 autists who are more innately in tune with them, who will, explain to the level 2 autists what is good about these shows.
So they
particularly
gave
the best in
they gave you autism basically. You can give somebody autism.
Well, we proved with vaccines that this is possible.
Yes.
Anime baby autism.
Okay, am I the only one that thinks Digibro secretly really likes Thomas the Train?
I guarantee when he was 5, he was obsessed.
Oh, I mean, he at 5, yeah, everyone was.
Not me. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, okay. Say that. What's it? Hold on. Say it again. What was the
I'm
show you're talking
Mexican.
about?
I had fucking
Thomas the Tank.
Okay,
Train.
I didn't hear you say like that. Okay, so Thomas the Tank Engine.
Because he keeps bringing it up in different videos.
I was never really a fan of it per se. I had like some VHS tapes that my mom gave me, but that's about it.
in the genre. So if you're somebody who maybe only really watches like a couple of cute girls doing cute things shows, more likely autism level 2. If you're watching all of them, level 3 at least.
Wait,
Pretty much
at least. But did you quite literally watches all of them and then makes videos on them? How is he not level 4?
How is he not like way past?
Because I think if
He
you
did like a
actually
4-hour
listen-
thing on
Yeah,
K-On!
here's the thing. If you actually look at his scale, I don't think it's a linear scale, but instead, if you fit this classification, you're on this. So, like how world building and consistency in narrative, like you would think those would go hand to hand, but
So can I power scale level 3 autists together to see who is the most level 3?
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
could.
absolutely. Basically, you just get Seth the programmer to help you. He's definitely on that level probably.
I'm power level in every category.
Honestly, I would have put power scalers way higher than he put them.
yeah.
Okay, then I guess we'll just put him at level 10.
All right,
No, level 9,000 just for the meat.
let's go.
anything based on a visual novel is almost guaranteed to go straight to level 4. Visual novels are just a very autistic mode of consumption because they really do stretch like your need to have something be like automatically compelling. Like, the more autistic you are, the less you probably care about like prose quality in something that you're reading.
Wait,
The
what?
more you're able to
Prose
you know,
quality. What's the
Yeah.
difference between prose quality and just quality?
I have
Prose quality would be the quality of, like, it's not. Prose quality has nothing.
It would be like how well written is the dialogue, or
Yeah.
puns, or
How well written is the author's life?
Like, Monogatari has good prose quality, but the story is kind of meh.
You could probably reach multiple qualifications at once.
So what he's saying is basically the quality of it as like a visual medium as an art.
I'll tell
No,
you-
the quality of dialogue, the
Oh, okay.
quality of the descriptive words,
regardless if you
like
agree with
how
it,
well you paint the picture
regardless
with words.
Okay. Regardless if you agree or not with Digi, this video does explain autism.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now.
Like,
best art, listen to
when
not
look
the
at those
best
glasses
music.
and you
You're more
immediately
interested-
understand.
the concepts, the characters, and what happens in the story than how the story is presented to you, which is why it's a lot easier to read, 60 hours of text and like complex branching narratives and keeping track of multiple tabs. If you're somebody who, saves at every single choice in a game, you are autism level 4.
Oh, so if you're someone who saves scums.
Oh, shoot. I've saved scum in Pokemon before. Gosh.
You're just nuking the fuck out of that
I
save
mean,
button.
if you save scum while writing your essays,
If you save at every point, you're a communist.
And none of this, by the way, is to judge people in their media
Fucking
that
got
they
me.
like. In fact, part of what I hope to accomplish by making this is to kind of ease people's minds about why they might enjoy something and why, it's so difficult to explain to other people what is
Billy,
enjoyable.
there's
about
nothing wrong with you. The only reason you like that show is because you're autistic.
in autism, there's nothing to be wrong. Don't be ableist. There's nothing wrong with being autistic.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's nothing wrong with being autistic, then why do we give them money again?
Why do we?
I'm not gonna take that bait.
out the things you like.
I'm just joking. We all know well.
What the hell? Oh, does anyone ever notice sometimes their talker's mic just amplifies?
Yeah.
Okay, that was my
Yeah.
alarm. What's it called? What was it? Oh yeah. You're not gonna take the bait. I'm just joking. We all know welfare is actually just reparations.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why is it that even though you think this story is so compelling and there's so much that you find in it, this other person can't even give it the time of day just because they're stuck on some other element and they're not seeing things the way that you are because you're taking a different approach to the way that you consume and enjoy things.
And that's
One
the
that is,
wrong way.
Again, more driven by the understanding, the categorical idea of what the story you're consuming is, as opposed to the fun or initial upfront enjoyment that you get.
Can I
from
just say
watching
I
something
want a
that's just-
Digibro movie?
A movie
Digibro.
about
The
Digibro.
Joker. Yeah, like
Oh my god,
That
the
would say the
broker.
Monogatari is pure autism. He actually put it as number 3. Oh ho ho!
Yeah.
I'm at least
oh,
number
like I want a movie of that just
But-
it would be great character
but again,
study.
like you said, this is clearly not a linear scale of autism work.
I don't think he has no consistency whatsoever.
Yeah, everyone who's ever played extra.
He's
or
just a-
CCC
he's just a
has
comedy
before.
artist.
Well,
He's an autism artist.
Digi has never really had a sense of consistency.
No.
And that's why he's so entertaining to watch.
Yeah,
This is true.
we would not be watching Digi if he was consistent.
Giguk is consistent. We do not consistently laugh at Giguk.
just
Well-
entertaining.
We laugh with Giguk. We laugh at Digi.
I don't know, but I'll press play.
I mean, if you want me to escape the realm of anime just for a moment to talk about something like superhero movies, I think that the superhero craze definitely has reached all the way up to normies. Like, normies can watch these movies and just enjoy them as these huge, expensive spectacle pieces. And what they like about these movies is that they look crazy, that there's all this CG, all this stuff happening, sound and light and explosions. And you'll notice that the more autistic people, which, I mean, if you're a film critic, probably at least a little touch of the autism.
I love this. Oh
Just a
my
bit.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
BTFO, Red Letter Media.
Normal people.
We don't want to say anything about me, Bob.
But
You're calling yourself out right now. Literally.
I'm gonna rewind that and listen to it again.
Spectacle pieces. And what they like about these movies is that they look crazy, that there's all this CG, all this stuff happening, sound and light and explosions. And you'll notice that the more autistic people, which, I mean, if you're a film critic, probably at least a little touch of the autism. Cause
That's literally you.
A little touch
Yeah.
of the tisms.
Well, he did.
A little touch. That's a bit of an.
Well,
Wait,
Chandler, he did rank
well-
himself level 4, so or level 3. So
Wait, that's us too, actually.
He's way beyond level.
about
Yeah.
how quality something is, those people tend to complain about the loud, distended climaxes of movies. Autistic people don't like loud noises very much.
oh
He went there.
So basically, anytime you're getting annoyed, you're making a video and somebody's just blowing leaves outside, you're autistic because you don't like it.
No, that.
Okay, mate.
That's not what that means, but okay, like it isn't.
it means
I'm
that
not-
the reason people actually dislike those loud booming endings is because of the loud noises, because they're autistic.
We are not
Uh-huh.
entertained by that because we're looking for more of the concepts, the interesting thoughts that we get out of the projects. So these movies, they do tend to have a burrowing down effect where they can reach pretty far down the autistic spectrum if you enjoy it for different reasons. If you're somebody who really cares about the ongoing narrative of the movies, maybe you watch all of them, in anticipation of the next Avengers or something like that. That is definitely at least level 1, if not level 2 autism. You're really more concerned about the whole meta narrative of the films. If you
Digi's my favorite philosopher.
Oh my goodness!
Really?
Even more so than Aristotle.
Oh, infinitely more.
No, here's what really happened. Okay, so DigiBro got a time machine, went back and taught Aristotle everything he knows. There you go.
Yes.
that's
DigiBro is
why I
the
listen-
beginning of
And
everything.
that's why I read on.
Is that why Aristotle disagrees with him so hard that he created the law of non-contradiction?
Yeah, yeah. Aristotle couldn't believe what he became. So what DigiBro is. He's like, it's like, okay, you know what? Fuck.
All right.
Okay,
then
what?
hearing about
What?
I'm looking up the law of non-contradiction right now.
them in relationship to the
kind of
comics
self.
and
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
explained it in my video. You can go watch that. My what's it called? My Weston and OP regular show video.
and, the whole meta of all of comics and the vast patchwork of what that all represents. That's getting into level 2, closer to level 3, and the more you're noticing all the thematic stuff in the movies, the more you care about how good they are of stories, in terms of what they present out.
Hold on. Someone said he needs to write a book about this. It was like, did he say that was level 4?
I
Where
was
you're
about
getting
to say,
into the scans and shit like that.
isn't Digi now doing fucking audio recordings of a shitty light novel that he's writing?
Yeah.
Yes. which he said were level 5.
Yeah.
No, it's not
No,
level 5.
VNs
It's like
were
fucking-
level 4.
Oh.
Outside
But
of
those
the
are VNs, like I kind of see how he's getting to that.
immediate flash and fun. It's a little bit, a little bit in the 1 or 2 categories, but there's also appeal even further down, again, because these are all part of these gigantic, insanely long-running series that have so much going on, so much history, so much to take in, and the more of that intrigues you.
I'm kind of surprised how he could do all of this without a script.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, that's because he's clearly freeballing it. What are you talking about?
That's why he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. You gotta script your
about
shit, nigga.
them, the more autistic the intrigue. I don't think Marvel movies generally get to level 4 because I think that at level 4 you probably just think that the movies don't have enough of the database elements, that they just are.
That would explain why I dislike the Marvel movies and love the Fates franchise.
Oh wow.
You probably watch all of them but don't like most of them.
Yep.
Because I think that level 4 is also where we start to get into really crazy consumption. Well, really level 3 is where we get into crazy consumption habits. If you're somebody who like wants to categorically know everything about whatever medium you care about, that's level 3 autism right there. Somebody like me who sets about like, I'm going to watch every anime ever made. That's level 3. But level
So speaking
Every anime ever made.
Yeah, so speaking of Fate, here's how you can really skyrocket on the autism level. You find out about Fate, you'll love it. Then you find about games like Koikatsu or Koikatu, whatever you call it, where you basically can fuck your wife. You just start creating characters, and that's how you jump up to the fucking like higher tiers of autism when it comes to Fate. You go from watching it to actually fucking the girls, technically, in some way.
No, we just need VR so you can go inside of it.
Oh no, VR. There is a VR installment for
not
Koikatsu.
VR. I mean, what we need is nerve gear.
Oh, nerve gear. There, yeah.
Finally, we could find a good way of sterilizing them.
That's that's the real first step towards anime girls becoming real. When we have nerve gear.
Autism sterilization is just VR.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Otaku will never reproduce once the nerve gear is invented.
Absolutely.
Out of watching as much anime as possible, you just would do that. You just wouldn't even think about it. You're just going for it, you know? Incidentally, stuff like Magic the Gathering, if you have like a totalizing understanding of Magic, that's like level 4 autism. It's just so much complexity, so much to memorize, so many different things to understand how they relate to one another.
Oh no.
I think that
No one memorizes everything. There's over 100,000 fucking cards.
I think what he doesn't realize is that most people start out casual, and then over the course of 5 to 6 years, they just accumulate knowledge.
Autism.
That's how life works.
No, they accumulate autism, not knowledge.
As you grow older, you do not accumulate and grow in knowledge. You accumulate and grow in autism.
Look,
Yeah.
That explains old people so
The
well.
only ASMR I listen to is when girls read different wikis. Specifically the Dark Souls wiki.
Oh man.
Oh my
that
goodness.
actually exists.
Yeah, Neanders did an ASMR where she
Wait.
read the,
Wait.
the Dark Souls.
Here's a good theory. Is the reason why old people are so bad at communicating and keeping themselves in a coherent conversation is because they've just accumulated too much autism over the course of a lifetime.
They're all level 7.
By the year
But
90.
what I found funny is, was it 3 or 4 you wanted the entire package with a show?
It's not dementia. It's literally just autism.
Dementia is just basically autism of the highest degree, to the point where you
Level
fucking
7.
die from it.
Dementia doesn't exist.
Level 8.
It's just autism.
I love this so much.
Yeah, Alzheimer's is great. You meet new people every day.
Yeah.
You just would do that. You just wouldn't even think about it. You're just going for it, you know? Incidentally, stuff like Magic the Gathering, if you have like a totalizing understanding of Magic, that's like level 4 autism. It's just so much complexity, so much to memorize, so many different things to understand how they relate to one another. I think that type of card game and strategy games in general, I think appeal to that because it requires you to just keep track of tons of shit. It's more spreadsheet-esque. You know, again, visual novels, things like Sengoku Rants, I think is like a very level 4 autism appeal. And again, it's not that these things can't appeal upwards. There's lots of different reasons you could like something.
Okay, so I get the feeling he's treating it like there's an actual limit to the autism scale. So 4 is like really high up there. There's no fucking limit to how far.
No,
you can go.
4 is midpoint. 7 is trains.
Yeah, and I'm just saying there's no end to it.
8 is
Yeah,
dementia.
it's a competitive. Autism is a competitive field to race to the top.
It's basically autism, right?
Towards
Autism.
unlimited power.
Unlimited
autism-
autism works.
Autism is actually secretly God Key from Dragon Ball Super. It keeps getting stronger.
I'm just waiting for him to mention Sonic so I can start hitting Dimitri with it.
It just happens to hit right in your strike zone. But, like, for instance, I might enjoy certain level 4 autism works because I like the character designs, or I really like the particulars
Pretty
of the
colors.
setting. They appeal to like my aesthetic sensibilities or just concepts that I find interesting. But I probably will struggle with the more autistic side of that, in hampering my enjoyment. Or likewise, if I enjoy, something that's at level 1, I might feel like, well, that was a well-told story, but it didn't give me all the extra shit that I'm looking for, Whereas when we get down to level 5, I really struggle to enjoy level 5 stuff because it just doesn't have that initial hook, that initial grab of a
All right, what was the level 5 thing again?
I don't remember. I know level 4 pretty
You
well.
guys said
level
I
5
think
was
he put like Elfin
Toho.
Lead at.
Yeah, he put Elfin Lead the manga specifically, but
Yeah,
the way he
it
described
was. You guys said it's like Toho level stuff, where it's your own weird personal
Yeah,
fan
you
fictions.
literally just make headcanon of everything.
literally where the
Steven
story
Universe.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's right. Steven Universe. Sound Euphonium.
I mean, we meant Hibiki Euphonium as a meme, but yeah.
It kind of is. So wait, that now
Sympho Gear.
Now it makes so much sense why everyone that loves Sound Euphonium is also a communist. Reality doesn't matter.
That explains so much.
Like relatable and comprehensible storyline for me to latch onto and start following. It just feels like I have to just intake all this raw data right away and just be intrigued by that, be keeping track of all that. Shows like Horizon on the Middle of Nowhere is a great example of a level 5 autism show, or something like Book of Bantora. Like, these are shows that really just hit you with so much out the gate to keep track of. Whereas level 4 would be more like, Accelerator or Railgun, where like you have to keep track of a lot, but it's still presented in a linear enough fashion and with enough story.
Linear.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think he means convoluted as fuck, but
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, I don't think that story's all that linear. But okay.
Especially not when you have like fucking shit at like the timeline's completely out of place with like the anime. You have like first you have the first season like a Tuaru Magical Index, and you have like fucking shit that's not even set like afterwards. It's just the timeline's kind of just all over the place.
It that you can reasonably keep up with it, just as long as you have enough autism to even initially give a fuck about shows that look like those shows do, which a normie would never give a fuck about. I haven't talked much about level 6, and that's because at level 6 I think your favorite thing is probably Sonic the Hedgehog.
This is our original character.
Basically, okay, dude. Basically, what happens though is your favorite thing is Sonic the Hedgehog at level 6. At level 6.5, that's when you start creating your own fan characters.
okay, so the Traplet is officially a level 6.
Okay, so by this point, we are officially in Chris Chan territory.
Yes. Although
we're officially in Dimitri territory.
No, we're officially in like early Chris Chan territory.
Okay, I'm going to now rename his name to Traplet level 6.
Yeah. I was about to say I was actually getting ready to at him.
I just did.
Oh my god! Look at that! Look at that!
Oh, you can't see it.
I haven't talked about this because at this level, it's essentially Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. Traplet level 6. My goodness. Alright. Oh man, let's see.
And it's because at level 6 autism, again, this is where we get into like the lower functioning category. And it's not to say that if you're level 5, you're almost low functioning, not necessarily. Like, intelligence plays a big role in this as well. And I think there's people even at level 6 autism who could, fit into society and have conversations with people, provided that they are intelligent or they grew up in a circumstance where they really learned how to communicate with people. There's lots of strategies.
Or, you just have your bussy.
That autistic people come up
Did
with
you just say bussy?
Yeah, boy pussy.
Boy, pussy.
Yeah, I know what bussy means.
How to communicate, how to be understood. There are lots of people who don't recognize themselves as having any form of autism because it might be so benign that they, have just never been made to think about it, or that their interests were close enough to the people around them that it never really mattered. It never made them feel alienated or weird. They just feel like a regular person who just happens to have a little bit more eccentric interests than the other people around them. But at level 6,
on that day, he learned after 40 years of being well socialized that he actually had autism.
Oh yeah.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Can you imagine this? If doctor offices stopped going through actual tests to diagnose people, and they're just showed them a list of different animes.
Even better. It's a list of different animes, and then it's Sonic the Hedgehog and Thomas the Tank Engine.
Really starts to be lower functioning. You get into the realm where your obsession with something can just completely redefine it. So the kind of people who really read super deeply into something like Sonic the Hedgehog, they get initially into it because it is
so basically, Chris Chan is level 7, but we're forgetting there's Chris Chan and then there's Christine Chan.
Oh Lord,
really
no!
appealing. The character design.
Okay, fine, Christian's level 6 because this is still level 6.
Yeah.
Of Sonic and of the other characters, they're extremely readable, extremely projectable because they're animal creatures. They're not even human. There's nothing.
Right. There's nothing to stand between you and the character, so that's why there's a lot of porn fanfic.
I want to point out that this is all coming from a dude who has also talked in the past about how he used to want to grow up to be a little girl.
Yeah.
Grow up to be a little girl.
And who was previously a brony channel.
Between you and the character, so to speak. With like a live
Why is he avoiding talking about My Little Pony?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because he would have to.
Even though he says that this isn't a problem,
Because
he's afraid to accidentally be classified as level 4.
No, I think My Little Pony would be classified somewhere at 6.
I was about to say, my little.
No,
Probably.
I'm just saying he's been skirting the lines. He doesn't want to be any higher than 3. He's afraid of what that would mean.
Yeah.
Action show. I struggle to watch a lot of live action shows because of the fact that I don't connect with other people that easily. Just seeing, I think for normies, just seeing a human is enough for them to connect with the character. It's why they don't necessarily need any more depth of the story because they relate to it because it's human. Adam of Your Movie Sucks always makes fun of the fact that regular people will just see a family and immediately it's, I'm emotionally resonant with this, even though it has not justified itself. The family's not realistic. They're not fleshed out. The fact that he cares about that at all puts him at level, he's probably 1 or 2. I would probably say closer to 2. Most, I think, online critics, especially on YouTube, are level 2 autism. I think critics who are more in the traditional publishing world are closer to level 1 for the most part. But, you can gauge people.
Yes.
Having too much. God damn it! Who just skipped?
Ryan Johnson.
Pokemon
Johnson
having too much water.
Ryan Johnson's immediately level 6.
He's probably 1 or 2. I would probably say closer to 2. Most, I think, online critics, especially on YouTube, are level 2 autism. I think critics who are more in the traditional publishing world are closer to level 1 for the most part. But, you can gauge people. I assume that this video is going to spark nothing but people describing how autistic they think various people are. There's a lot of
they're gonna start talking about how autistic you are.
Be very mad at me for doing this. But I have great fun with it because I have no qualms about
I'm very happy that you did this.
Oh,
happy. Yep.
absolutely.
critics who are more in the traditional publishing world are closer to level 1 for the most part, but you know, you can gauge people. I assume that this video is going to spark nothing but people describing how autistic they think various people are.
one
There's a
comment.
lot of people
Something that can appeal to all level 7 autisms. Legos.
who are going to be very mad.
Dude,
at
how
me
is it he and Medicare both have the exact same way of testing autism?
Oh, man. Maybe he's secretly a fan of Medicare.
He is Medicare.
Oh, yeah. That's basically he uses a voice changer.
Well, hello, guys.
for doing this, but I have great fun with it because I have no qualms about being a level 3 autist. Bordering on
You're not a
level
level
4.
3 autist, dude.
Bordering level 4. Okay, he has no qualms with being that. He might have qualms being higher though.
So he is at least level 4. So
Say,
probably
I'm
5.
like in the
There
interim
is
between
no
level
way he and I have the
3 and 4. You know, but hey, I've built a whole career on my autism, so whatever. But yeah, it's harder for me to instantly relate with something just because it has a human face. I might, you know,
Admittedly.
look at something that has a more direct aesthetic appeal that speaks to me, not because it's a person, but because it is particular to my own interests, and that's what gets me deeper into the story. And I think that when you're at level 6, all it takes is just like that first image, the first thing that imprints itself on you. You can run with that forever. I think about something
like
like
Legos.
Okay.
more songs. He only needs the one that left an initial impression, and then he can enjoy it in so many different ways. It becomes his own creation. So that's, you know, that's where we get into the level 6, and it's why I think level 6 autists tend to have like these sort of inner worlds that they've built for themselves. These whole like you know, database, and
Ooh-la-la.
obsessively databases his own life, as you know, that's what his whole website is based around. So which fascinates me, and I love to see it, but I can't relate to it. And like at level 6, because
Wait, a question. So let's think about someone who writes their own fictional world not based on an existing property. Would that necessarily make them a level 6?
Yes,
No.
because they're actually copying Lord of the Rings and they don't know it yet.
They're all copying basically anytime. No, they're all copying Star Wars
They're all
because
copying
All writers are inherently level 6 autists.
Mm.
Let me rewind that because I didn't hear.
oh, the only ones who are not autistic are cavemen.
I think level 6 autists tend to have like these sort of
What are you talking about? Cavemen were super autistic. They were, even though they couldn't fucking draw for shit, they were obsessed with drawing.
inner worlds that they've
But
built
they were
for
the
themselves.
first.
These whole like you know, database, and Ululula obsessively databases his own life, as you know, that's what his whole website is based around. So which fascinates me, and I love to see it, but I can't relate to it. And like at level 6, because you are so deep into your own database, into your own world, your own realm, other people really struggle to relate. Level 6 autists do not relate to one another. They get sucked into their particular worlds, and everything is going on in their own heads. When you get down to levels 5 and 6, this is where like tulpamancy starts to really become a thing, where people hypnotizing themselves really becomes a thing. You know, it's like this is the level at which your own inner sanctum is your playground, because the world makes no sense to you. It is too, you know, it appears too complex because you're getting so much complexity out of even one thing that you don't know where to parse. You don't know where to draw the line. You don't know where
So basically, leftists.
to, you know, stop thinking about this and move on to the next thing. The more autistic you are, the more single-minded and obsessed you tend to be. You fixate on something and you run it into the fucking ground. And
So
Yeah.
normies and memes. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Are normies secretly level 6?
oh my god, they are! Holy shit!
you know, people like me at level 3, I've obviously done this with anime. I'm single target obsessed with it. and running it into the ground, But people who
you
are
level 6?
at level 1 or who aren't autistic at all tend to have much less obsessive tendencies or to move on from things, Somebody who's level 1 or 2 autism might get really concentrated on something for a little while and then they forget about it and they don't care anymore, It comes up again and maybe they have some feelings, some, remembrance of the way they felt at the time. But somebody who's at level 6, whatever you latched onto when you were a kid, it never gets old. You're going to be thinking about that shit for the rest of your fucking life. Anyways, I think I've explained this all enough. All of this is in good fun, obviously. I'm not a scientist or a psychologist.
That is
You're
very
a
obvious.
philosopher.
Yeah, it's obvious, though you probably secretly would like to think you are.
He's a philosopher.
I
Yeah.
just like to say funny
What's
things.
the
and
difference?
think about autism a whole lot. But you know what? I think if you look deep into your heart and think about how autistic you feel and what things you like and why you like them, you will find that there are a lot of nuggets of truth sprinkled into this. Maybe it's not truly an autism chart. That's just a word that is catchy and fun and made you click on the video and is a great way for us to explore these ideas. But I definitely think there's something to this whole thing. And like I think about people I know and people I know tend to have very consistent tastes when judged on this chart. The way they enjoy.
Oh man, people being consistent on what they like.
Oh.
It's horrible.
What do you think Digi puts you as, Otaku?
Alright,
At least a level 8.
Yeah.
He puts me either a 4 or 5.
I mean, he has had 2 separate rants about you.
Yeah, so I'd like to think I'm probably somewhere maybe 2 or 3, but I don't know. I've been more focused on I wish I had more time and attention span to consume media lately.
Kind of.
So I'd have a more better approximation.
Appreciation with this sliding scale of sort of humanism versus databaseism. And I didn't even get that much into the more emotional side of things just because it's more difficult to categorize like how autistic something is emotionally. I think there are lots of stories that if you really like stories that don't speak as much in words as they do in images and feelings, that grows increasingly autistic and alien the further down you go. I think that, like, for instance, art house films tend to fall into like level 3 or deeper because they're exploring some kind of very particular feeling that that normal people just don't even care about the idea of exploring, but you get fixated. You have these certain things that you feel this way, and then you really want to understand it, and you really want to burrow into those feelings and get it deeper.
I mean, yeah, I really, really want to burrow into this video and understand it.
I would say, like,
What'd you say, Flat?
a show like Hibike Euphonium is something that I consider like level 2 autism on an emotional level. There's not a ton of complexity in the storytelling, but it's another show that's less about directly telling a compelling narrative and more about having lots of emotional depth in the characters. Revolutionary Girl Utena is definitely a level 3 autism show. On both levels. It has tons of meta about the surrounding culture. It has tons of, different types of emotions, characters constructed out of, like, combinations of ideas. So, here's, just go wild. Think about it yourself. Propose to me what autism levels you think are of shows that I didn't talk about. I'll let you know how I feel. I'd love to eventually make some kind of visual chart for all of this. The reason I did this
I
as a
really
vlog is
want that visual chart.
I want that.
Yes.
visual.
we gotta make okay.
He has to put that visual chart on TV.
Wait, so can we actually count on Digi to make a visual chart himself?
I'm gonna tweet at him.
No.
And just beg him.
Then let's do it ourselves. Then.
Hold on, I'm gonna do a break. No, I want him to do it because that will make it funnier. I'm tweeting at him real fast.
Like, sell that as a docky, sell it as a fucking poster, a wall scroll, a t-shirt.
Basically anything you see in DigiBro's room right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sell it as a pair of sunglasses. As a drunken homeless man.
Okay, I sent the tweet. And what's it called? Hey, I'm putting it in chat. For anyone that wanna join in.
I'm liking and retweeting too.
There, I put it
So-
in chat.
I'm gonna add on to this. How do you want to do how many retweets for you to get this? For you to do this thing?
He doesn't care about that shit. He just cares on whether he can or not. But what's it called? Let's press play and finish.
I've been thinking about this all month. I talked about it on the PCP a few weeks back, but I really don't have time to sit down and make a huge infographic. If somebody wants to do that, and work with me on like if there's any shows you're not sure how autistic they are, how would I categorize them, you want to work with me on it, I'd love to help you out. But I also want it to be visually good. So don't try to fucking make this chart if you don't know how to make charts.
Wait, is he already doing that?
Do we do it? We should do it. We should make it.
Yes, we should do it.
At
But
the
anyway.
very top, we just submit his channel as an anime at the very end and put it at 7.
That's it for now.
Wait a minute, wait. How could he? Wait. He talks about having their own kind of world and these kind of people only relating to one another and their kind of self as level 6. Isn't that the entire idea of his channel?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
I'm gonna need about 350 for that one.
Oh. Goddamn
I'm
luck,
working
that's
on
why
my
I ain't
second
got no.
volume. For my light novel, stay tuned for that. It's definitely a level. Is it level 2 or 3 autistic? I'm trying to. Volume 2 is going to be more autistic than Volume 1. Let's put it that way. So look forward to
I
that.
already listened to the
and
one
have
you
a nice
today.
time.
That thing was like a 20.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
god.
So is this over?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm putting a break and holy shit. That was amazing. What do y'all say, chat?
Autistic as fuck.
PCP is
I-
the Procrastinators
yeah.
podcast.
That's why it's great.
Oh man.
It's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
it's the best work of art I've seen in ever.
I have a lot of ads. Hold on, let me... All right.
Autistic out of 20.
Autistic attitude.
Level 9.
Level 15, Burger King lettuce.
The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus.
The
But
last thing,
apparently-
Yeah, I'm back. Okay,
the last
let's
thing you
finish
want in
this.
your Burger King burger is somebody's autism.
But apparently that's what you might get.
Okay, and kick chan. Okay.
I mean, how many tendies out of nuggies do? How many nuggies out of tendies do you give this?
Before we go to level 1. Okay, so after y'all now know what the autism scale is, where would y'all rank y'all selves?
I'd probably say maybe a 3 or 4.
I mean, Digi literally ranked me at either a 3 or 4.
Personally, I do not really know. I don't care to find out.
Yeah,
I'll let
you
others.
didn't watch
I'll
the
let.
first 20 minutes. The first is he's probably done with it in the first 12 minutes. It's actually fucking hilarious.
Yeah, well, I don't even know. I don't care. I'll just let others be the judge of it. Okay. Whatever the hell you want to classify me as, go ahead. I just know that I'm on the scale.
Probably 2. What
Wow.
about you, Plot? Plot?
What?
He
What-
popped
what
the.
level
Somebody
are you?
pop opens like a bottle of wine or something.
No, that's the sound it makes when you leave or join the watch together.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so Plot, what rank are you?
I guess either 3 or 4. Or 2. I don't know. He's kind of all over the place, really.
Yeah, I'm either a 4 or a 5.
It's like I appreciate competent everything.
On second thought, I'd probably be within the range of either 1 or 3. If I want to consume more media, I'd probably go up to maybe a 3 or 4.
Well, like I enjoy the lore, so that's 4
Yeah.
levels. But I'd probably be closer to 2 for the most everything else. So
Then if we're maybe talk about maybe a 4 since I
DigiBro's Bizarre Adventure, Autism is Invincible.
Autism is undeniable. Autism is inevitable.
Autism is
Inevitable.
unstoppable.
Are we just gonna be replacing anime fucking titles with autism?
We're gonna replace fucking Thanos in Avengers Endgame with Chris Chan.
Oh, I thought we were going to replace it with Jeb.
Yep.
Jib.
Yep.
So DigiBro doesn't know the autism is madness in the internet. Oh man. All right. Well, do y'all have any last words? I don't think
No.
we've got any
Yep.
questions.
Peace, bitches.
Actually, let me check. Okay, I guess because he left, we'll do it next time. All right, Plot. What about you?
or what about me?
Outro.
Oh, Stuffy, did you read that My Hero Acca chapter?
I don't
Okay,
think he
so
heard
you,
you.
Kaiser.
Anyways, okay, so I'm Kaiser Trigger. I have not been on here in a long time for obvious reasons. I have shit to do, and I've been editing videos for people, so you might not see me here again for a while. So,
You, Chandler. Oh wait, I'll let you.
Uh,
I thought you finished.
Anyway, so I hope I make enough money soon, but I'm doing a 1,000 subscriber special eventually.
Yeah. All right. You, Chandler.
My name is Chandler. I'm looking to get some game design videos out soon, and yeah, be ready for those, I guess.
All right, and this video will be on the other channel tomorrow or the next day. One of those two. All right. Sayonara, Mia-san, because we're all 9-0.
Weebs.
Bye.
Bye.